Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Eric, and today's episode is I own a mini excavator, and we had problems with trying to keep the track on. And what ended up happening was, over years of use, the sprockets had worn down to where they were almost points versus the blunt end to turn the track, so it was constantly coming off. So I ended up ordering two brand new sprockets out of the UK, and I got those. And we went ahead and we put the one on for now that was causing all the grief. I got both sides because I figure if one side's getting there, the other side's closed, right? And so we got the sprocket on, and I'm gonna let you guys see the video of us getting that track, because the track we took completely off, and we felt that it was better to put it on the sprocket end first before we put it on the idler in the front. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you how even seasoned veterans can make mistakes, and how safety issues happen in a split second. So enjoy. You got it figured out? So today we're working on the mini excavator. We've got the one sprocket already installed, and now Claude and I are trying to get the track back on. It's kind of bulwark no matter how you look at it. We use this mini for a lot of things, especially around on the farm. But it's bought and paid for. It's made enough money so that it doesn't owe me a cent. So doing preventative maintenance, like doing services on your equipment, is very important for longevity. We're just jibber-jabbering back and forth to come up with a good plan. What I tend to do is I talk out loud my thoughts and kind of let Claude decide how he wants to do it. But in the end, a lot of times he listens to me and just goes ahead and tries it. And when it works, it works. See, I told him if we rolled the track this direction, it'd give us more slack to get it up and on instead of fighting it in the front and back. So he said to give it a whirl, and sure enough, that got us pretty close to. We've got it on the rear sprockets. Because on my big excavator, my Hitachi E60, that's got steel tracks on it and no push blade. But we've had that come off up in the woods, and the easiest way to get it back on is to get that back sprocket with the track on it. And then what I do with the Hitachi is I hook a chain to the front. Since it's all steel, I can hook to the side of it, and then I use the bucket on the excavator to swing the track around. But you got to take the grease fitting out, because this here has got a grease system that tightens and loosens the track. If you add grease, it'll tighten the track. If you take the grease fitting out and allow the grease to come out, you can push that idler back so that it gives you room to slide things under. And that's what we're discussing here with this one is, would it be feasible just to hook a chain to it and let the mini excavator do it, or should we fight and fight and fight? One good thing, especially with Claude. Claude went from working for a car dealership years and years ago when he was younger, but he spent most of his adult life in the forestry division, and that is, he was a mechanic working on anything from fellow bunchers that cut trees to skidders to excavators with apprentice style claws on it to spin to load trucks and unload trucks. So he's got a lot of experience when it comes to the heavier equipment, and it's kind of been a blessing in disguise, because there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't even know how to fix that he impresses me on how well he does it, but it's years of doing it. I don't have that experience, so I rely on his experience. What I'm doing is I'm turning the back sprocket just to make sure it comes up on, and right now it is on, so I was just kind of fine-tuning it. See, now he's going to go with my idea with the chain instead of trying to fight it. Think smarter, not harder. When you get to our age, you don't have the oomph that you did when you were younger. So we have to kind of find out what's the easiest way with the least amount of labor. I'm cleaning out the center pivots of the track so we can get a chain through it. With this being a rubber track, I can't just slide the chain over the front of the track like I do with the steel track on the big excavator. But I've owned 3 of the big excavators. I had the John Deere 690, and oh, she was a beast. Talk about huge. And then I also had a cat excavator that had the wide track that we used a lot, especially down back draining the pond, because it had the wide track, so you can go into beaver flows and stuff and stay on top, where my Hitachi, I couldn't do that. I ended up selling the 690 locally to a guy that had a gravel pit, and I think I made $4,000 on that deal. And then the cat ended up going to Africa. I had a guy from New York City come out, and he gave me double what I paid for it. We had put paint and new decals, and all he cared about was that it worked. And he was interested in the cat because over in Africa, that's what it predominantly is cat equipment. So at the very least, it was a parts machine to him, but he gave me what exactly I asked for it, no questions asked. Once he saw it, took a video of it, he made a few trips up and back, sent messages back and forth, and finally said, I'll take it. The biggest hoorah with that was just trying to get, the right trailer that he was trying to hire from brokers to come pick it up. And they kept sending equipment that was too small, that with the cat they thought it would go on to a dually, with triaxles instead of double. And I told the guy, I said, you can try it, but I think she's way overweight to put on to that trailer. And they started loading it, and they started lifting the hind tires right off the ground, and he had a brand new truck and trailer. I said, no, I guess I'm going to pass on it. So they finally did end up sending a trucker that had a lowboy that was looking for a load back, and we got it onto his lowboy with no problem. So I've been around big equipment most of my life as well, operating. Everything from working at the mines, operating all the underground equipment, to on the surface, running what they call the Big Michigan. I mean, that girl was huge. We had 20 and 40 ton haul trucks when I worked up to Pierpont Mines, where that was you could enter it by truck, the spiral type direction. So we've got it swung over pretty good. We just got to get the backtrack back where it needs to be. You got to be careful like this, because that bar can come out and slap you so hard, you know. So we switched places, because I told him I thought I could have more pressure to put on that. And like I say, you got to be really, really careful around that bar. That bar will hurt you. But I was able to lift it up and over so that he just kept tension on it. Like I always say, kids, don't do this at home. We're trained professionals and we know better. We should know better. It lacks just a little bit. So what I had mentioned to Claude was, because he had a set of come-alongs, what if we hook a set of come-alongs to the track and pull it towards the other track so it's got pressure that way, instead of me trying to hold the bar to do it. See, we got the come-alongs on it right now, so it's applying pressure right up against it. I told Claude if he could lift up, I could get more tension on the come-alongs to pull it even harder. And prior to doing this, we had a guy that had an older case gas engine skid steer that was having issues with the bearings in the right back axle. Wanted to know if we would be willing to take the job on, so we went out and looked, and sure enough, we were willing to take the job on. But the problem is, the guy's got it way out in his yard, and there's a foot of snow. And if he wants us to pick it up and bring it back to the shop, he's going to have to pay to have my Mini go out, or my skid steer, to clear a path, and then I probably would have to use this girl to pull it up to the road where we could get a winch on it with a trailer. Or I'd run my farm tractor, which is about 8 miles, my big Deutz 130 horse tractor, 4-wheel drive, to pull it out where we could get hooked onto it with the winch. So we left it as of last night. He was going to try to get it to the driveway. And I'm assuming that the fellow across the road from him owns a decent sized John Deere 4-wheel drive tractor, And he's probably going to see if he couldn't get him to hook onto it and just skid it right out to the driveway where we can get it. So we could use the extra work right now. Things are slow. But this is where we're getting my stuff caught up, since it's that we've let go for quite a while. So the track is on. Now we just need to roll it around so we can get the chain out. But the chain has to come over top of the idler. Now I'm coming with a grease gun. If you can afford it, if you do a lot of greasing, the battery powered grease guns are great. This one is Claude's. I have mine in my garage that I use for my farm equipment. Claude's getting the grease fitting back in. Got her tight. So again, the way that the track tensioner works is it's grease operated. And the more grease you put in there, the further it pushes the front idler out. And you want the track pretty good and tight. See the track moving right there? That's the grease pushing the front idler out. Once you get it up to a certain poundage, the electrics or the battery operated grease guns will stop pumping. But you're not done there yet, because you need to spin that track around, so if there's any dirt, mud, or anything else in there, that gets it out, and then you add more grease. Swinging it over to put the bucket down so it raises that track up off the ground so that he can run it, spin it around so that anything in there that might be holding it is out. See, she took a bit more grease.
You said you gotta tighten the bolts?
You loosen the bolts on the other side. Just tightening this sprocket down, and we'll pick and do this one when it gets warmer weather. So we decided we're going to just touch this one up too. The track looks just a little loose, but not bad. So we'll put the grease fitting on this side. So she's pumped up as far as she's going to go. So now Claude's going to test her out and see how well it works. Biggest thing is when you go to turn with it, the sprockets were so worn that the track would walk right off from it. With that maneuver right there, the track would have been off, so it looks like it's going to work. Another job well done. So he's going to try pushing a little bit more brush up, because we're looking at getting some brush piles started on fire and then just simply feeding the fire to get rid of all the brush. I know, Amos, you're not supposed to be using this to push, only for backfilling. But he takes and he'll push up so much, and then he'll use the thumb and the bucket to reach out beside of him and pull it in to where it needs to, so he can push it further. We'd like to get those fires going pretty quick, because right now we got snow on the ground, so it can't spread. That's the big thing. But the idea of putting like 6 different ones going at the same time, I didn't know. I don't want to. The neighbors are really good over there, but I think if we smoked them out, they'd be pretty irate. So I don't know whether we should do one at a time so there's not as much smoke. And just, you got to be there to keep feeding the fire with the brush that's around it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video, and like as I said, coming up here towards the end, you know, I try to keep it real, and this incident, you know, happened, and I wanted to highlight it so that, you know, it only takes a split second. I don't care how seasoned you are, you know, and how experienced you are. If you let your guard down for just a minute, things can go south in a hurry. And you have to be on guard the whole time. You know, you just can't be thinking off into space. But so he's going to finish pushing that up. Like I say, I hope you guys enjoyed the video on how we put the track back on the new sprocket. Okay, we didn't get the sprocket because we had it before. But here's the incident that took place. I was running it, and as I stepped off, my jacket caught on the control. And had Claude not been paying attention to what was going on, he could have been hurt. And that's why I say it only takes a split second, guys.